Hi Nathaniel, Erskine-Smith, thank you very much with us today. You are elected this is East York as a member of parliament, and lot of Bangladeshi people are living here.
Absolutely.
So I have a few questions to ask, like how do you feel in your present role as a member of parliament?
Really proud more than anything. So I'm proud to represent my home community. I grew up here. My parents are teachers here. I live here with my wife now, who's expecting actually in August, which is good news. And so I'm very proud to go to Ottawa and be an advocate on behalf of neighbors and residents across the riding.
All right, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah. Well, what are the key issues do you think need to be addressed?
So there are a long list of issues. Fundamentally, and in the campaign, we focused on smart, fair, and honest government. And so much of those issues are city issues. So when we talk about smart government, smart on public transit, smart on the environment. When we talk about fair government, we want to look at fairness for affordability. So fairness for affordable housing, fairness for affordable childcare, and providing funds for families who really need help with the high cost of raising their kids. Fairness for our First Nations community, fairness for new Canadians, and then honest government. So there are a number of different components. We're reforming the Senate, which is very important. We've got an electoral reform piece that's very important. But fundamentally, it comes down to, I think, strong community representation of the riding. And that's certainly what Justin Trudeau has empowered backbenchers like myself to speak out on behalf of neighbors and constituents.
Yeah, a lot of these days. Yeah. So a large number of Bangladeshi Canadian live in your constituency. They have some unique needs and issues. So how far do you know those issues or needs?
Well, you can inform me of some of them, perhaps, but having knocked on a lot of doors and spoken to a lot of people and attended a lot of events, some issues are absolutely unique. So when we talk about immigration issues for family members, when we talk about unemployment rates, and we know that unemployment rates for new Canadians are much higher than for other Canadians. The failure to recognize foreign credentials, for example, the one thing that I've gotten to know is the importance of preserving and recognizing and maintaining traditions and culture from back home, celebrating Canada, but also celebrating Bangladesh. And so taking part in New Year's and an International Mother Language Day, I completely understand that and have come to learn that. Other issues are not so unique though. So when we talk about affordability of childcare, when we talk about looking for a better future for the next generation, affordable education, when we talk about housing, when we talk about public transit, there are a lot of common issues regardless of your background and community.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know that unemployment, underemployment, housing prices, domestic violence, and lack of information are the key issues Bengali community people are facing. Do you have any plan to address these problems?
Yeah, so the government in the last budget, in our election platform, we had great plans, and I was very happy to see a number of those promises fulfilled in the most recent budget. And I actually wanted to, so you get the exact answer, I want to be clear exactly what. So when we talk about unemployment, we're creating jobs directly in some cases, which is rare for government to create jobs directly. Oftentimes it's indirect, but we're creating jobs directly for youth in many cases. So doubling youth employment under the Canada Summer Jobs Program is an incredibly important piece. So many young Canadians and new Canadians have told us it's hard to find a job without experience. You can't get experience without a job, and so government is there to help close that gap. Others are just support, so supports for co-op placements. There's more funding for co-op placements. EI improvements. Anyone who has dealt with employment insurance knows you have to wait 2 weeks. We're actually closing that gap from 2 weeks down to 1 week. Skills retraining. There's going to be millions more dollars for skills retraining for people who have lost their jobs, including apprenticeships. I spoke about post-secondary education, so there's going to be more money for low and middle income families to access education, which is the first step obviously in gainful employment. More than that, when we talk about housing, I'm glad you mentioned housing, so there are going to be hundreds of millions of dollars spent on affordable housing initiatives. And in fact, when you look at all of the monies, it's $500 million over the next 2 years on affordable housing initiative, doubling the affordable housing initiative. There's additional monies for seniors housing. There's additional money for retrofits of existing housing. All told, all of the monies add up to billions of dollars for housing in particular. There are going to be billions of dollars for transit too, which is incredibly important for affordability. So we're looking at, over the next 3 years, $1.5 billion going to Ontario, and about half of that coming to Toronto because it's based on ridership, and everyone knows Toronto has the largest number of riders. An interesting one in your question was domestic violence. So that's not an issue we actually speak enough about, but certainly the Minister of the Status of Women has emphasized the importance of addressing domestic violence, and so there's going to be $90 million over the next 2 years to fund renovations and new spaces for victims of domestic violence. So there's a lot of, in my view, the budget is focused on infrastructure investment. It's focused on helping families. So in this month, actually in July, we're looking at the Canada Child Benefit, which will bring over 300,000 kids out of poverty. And when you look at Crescent Town in particular, which has a child poverty rate of over 30%, that will have a massive impact on families here in Beaches East York.
Great. And during last year's election campaign, the Liberal platform committed to repeal the unfair elements of Bill C-24 that create second-class citizens and the elements that make it more difficult for hard-working immigrants to become Canadian citizens. How long it would take place to revoke?
So first, I want to highlight, I was just speaking today about this issue with a professor at U of T, and C-24, there are other pieces of legislation too, I think C-51 to some extent. My sense of knocking on doors is that the Muslim community and New Canadians across the religious spectrum felt that C-24 and C-51 to some extent targeted their communities, and so a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian, as the Prime Minister says all the time, and so we put forward Bill C-6, which repeals the unfair elements of C-24. It's passed third reading in the House, which means that us as members of Parliament, we've done all that we can to pass it. It's passed first reading at the Senate, and that was in June of this past, so just a month ago, roughly. It was June 17th actually, and it will be passed by the Senate, I would expect, early in the fall. So we reconvene in September, and in October, early November, I would expect.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. What plans does local Liberal government have for reforms to Canada's immigration systems?
So Minister McCallum has announced an overarching consultation. So if others in the community have suggestions, please let us know so that we will put together a package and we will deliver that package to Minister McCallum. Of course, about 80% of the work that my frontline staff do here is immigration, because the immigration system is so broken. As anyone who has dealt with it knows, it's almost designed to keep information out. It's so hard to access information. So people are welcome to come to our office and get information. We're happy to help. But certainly where there are problems, let us know and we will pass those problems on to the Minister of Immigration. I will say C-24 was a good start. Repealing C-24, I should say, was a good start with C-6. More than that though, a lot of new monies are available. So there's $25 million that's invested this year to reduce application wait times, and a number of small changes are being made, all with a view to improving family reunification. That's the fundamental emphasis.
Thank you. And we know that you introduced the animal welfare bill C-246. So tell me something about that.
Yeah, sure. So first, with a private member's bill, you can't spend money and you can't tax. So you're quite limited in what you can do. I would have loved to have spent money and brought more folks out of poverty, but that's off the table. That's for government to do. So as a private member, you can introduce, some people introduce bills to recognize a particular day. I wanted to have a more substantial impact than that. We put out a call for ideas, and many in this community care about animal welfare, certainly. And I also think it's a testament to who we are as a society and how we treat the most vulnerable in our society. Animals have no voice and are incredibly vulnerable, and I think it's important that we recognize that. And so it really does three things. It strengthens, most importantly, it strengthens the animal cruelty provisions in the criminal code to make it easier to prosecute animal fighting, sexual abuse of animals, and deplorable puppy mill cases where Crown prosecutors, humane societies have told us it's very hard to prosecute these cases. It will also ban the importation of shark fins, which is a cruel practice where a shark's fin is cut off, the shark's thrown back into the sea and it drowns. And so it closes a number of loopholes. The idea is to bring our animal welfare laws to help bring them into the 21st century. And it's consistent in many ways with what European countries have done and with what the United States has done as well.
Good. And my final questions: what services do you provide from your constituency office, from this office?
So very generally, anytime you deal with federal service and you have a problem with that federal service, you can come to us. More specifically, immigration is the #1 touch point for people that deal with the federal government and require help assisting. We assist them navigate the bureaucracy, really is what it comes down to. Where mistakes have been made, we can try to intervene and help fix those mistakes. Canada Pension Plan and Old Age Security is another one that we often deal with. Certainly this month we're encouraging folks to learn more about the Canada Child Benefit so that if you have a child under the age of 6, you're eligible for a benefit of up to $6,400 a year, tax-free. If you have a kid 6 to 17, eligible for a benefit up to $5,400 tax-free. Canada Student Loans, Veterans Services, anything that is a federal service, employment insurance. And what I would encourage is anyone to come to our office, set up a meeting, come to our office, and my staff are happy to help. If it's not an issue that we deal with at the federal level, we'll connect you with Arthur Potts, we'll connect you with Mary Margaret or Janet Davis, and we'll connect you with the person who can help the best.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to talk to you as always.